Pulse chain.
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 We have some news coming out about the SEC here, and this has been reported by Nuclear Herbs here, and it's a one-pager, a document kind of overview of what Donald Trump and the SEC priorities are going to be, and he calls it day one. So Nuclear Herbs says it is being reported that this is a list of day one priorities for the SEC under the Trump administration. This is very positive news, at least generally speaking. My immediate concern is that the terms actual fraud and investor loss are open to wide interpretation. So I don't know how this will affect Richard's case, assuming it's not dismissed by then. I'm not sure what the parameters of these terms will be, but when a judge can't figure out what fraud the SEC is talking about, maybe that's a signal that the SEC should be looking at this case as well. In fact, we may be able to point to Hester Pierce and Mark U. Yadar. So these are commissioners of the SEC. I'd be happy to forward them the transcript of the hearing where the judge grilled the SEC lawyers on that issue. Either way, it appears that there will be an entirely new approach to digital assets, which is great to hear. It needed to happen now. We voted for it. It looks like we're getting there. In the meantime, feel free to repost this with comments you think Hester and Mark should know about the SEC versus Richard Schuler, Richard Hart case. So there's a few comments we can look at here. But this is basically the one pager here. As you can see, it's called Day One. And it says the interim chair, when named, and President-elect Trump's chair, who is Paul Atkins. So we've talked about him before. He has previous experience with the SEC. And it says he needs to issue clear public statements resetting the SEC's relationship with digital asset market participants, setting out the SEC's priorities associated with blockchain technology and digital assets, and start the process of regaining the trust of the global digital asset community. The next step is directing each SEC division to prioritize and allocate resources to address the following action items. So you can see 5 items here. It's called the Digital Chamber. We'll quickly go through them. So the first one is corporate finance. Rescind the 2019 framework for investment contract analysis and digital assets. The list of considerations overly broad, lacks prioritization from most to least important, and is impractical to properly apply. Additionally, the staff have been unwilling to engage with the market participants to issue no action letters that could offer needed clarity on the framework of application of securities laws to digital assets more broadly. So there's a few critical items here. It says formally states that the Hinman speech is not SEC guidance and is not to be relied on. The speech includes factors that are not relevant to the required by the Howey test and has created confusion in the market. Additionally, this speech improperly created a winner-loser dynamic. So it looks like they're looking at some quite important issues there for clarity. This second part here is trading and markets, and it says critical. Formally withdraw and reconsider the proposed amendments to Rule 3B16. These rules propose to expand the definition of exchange to encompass decentralized finance market participants and a potential wide variety of other market participants who fall into the undefined concept of communications protocol system. So yeah, that seems like that's targeting the DeFi market, which will be, of course, us in the RH ecosystem. So they're going to look into that. Then we have some enforcement issues here. So critical, initiate an immediate review of all existing digital asset related investigations, Wells notices, and in-process litigation cases. Issue a clear statement outlining the Commission's provisional enforcement approach to digital assets. Seek stays for ongoing litigation cases that do not involve actual fraud investor loss, or risk of imminent harm, allowing time to finalise the Commission's approach. Important point, consider whether new cases and investigations should only be brought in cases of real fraud or imminent loss and no more theory cases. So that we've seen numerous cases that were brought up by Gensler. I think it might have been even over 100 cases against various crypto companies. So maybe a lot of those might fall into this bracket here where there's no real imminent loss, and there might be a lot of them that are theory based. So this section here is investment management. Critical, formally withdraw and reconsider the proposed safeguarding rules. These rules are proposed are unworkable for many asset classes, particularly digital assets, and the proposed concept of eliminating state banks and trusts from the definition of qualified custodian has no basis or justification. The SEC must formally withdraw these proposed rules. So they're removing stuff there. The OCA, which is the Office of the Chief Accountant. So critical, rescind SAB 121 and if necessary publish a revocation order in the Federal Register. Now this SAB 121 imposes undue burdens on digital asset custodians by requiring them to hold assets on their balance sheets, creating accounting challenges and deterring innovation in the digital asset space. Rescinding the bulletin and publishing a revocation order in the Federal Register will restore a balanced regulatory approach. Issued by SEC staff in 2022. In 2023, GAO found that the SEB 121 was a rule under the APA and improperly issued. Congress passed bipartisan legislation to repeal in May 2024, vetoed by Biden. SEC has been providing selective exempted relief to a few market participants from SAB 121 with absolutely no transparency and outside the standard no action letter process. So that's the one page there, outlining possibly a lot of changes that will help the digital asset community to encourage innovation. So let's see some of the comments here. I fully agree. In my opinion, nobody has damaged people more than the SEC. They caused unbelievable losses to people by painting Richard Hart out as a bad actor and with bad projects and disingenuous plans. All lies, in my opinion. Thanks for the initiative, sir. HEXPLS. Hope it gets resolved soon. The SEC should be investigated for the activities been involved in. The SEC should focus on actual fraud and investor loss. Indeed requires clarity. Yeah, those terms need better defining. In the crypto world, transparency and fair regulation are crucial for fostering trust and growth. Hope that the Trump administration, the voice of investors, will be taken seriously into consideration. I can't believe the SEC can harm someone, even if tens of thousands of people or even more screaming in unison that there's no evidence of fraud. A voice of the people should matter. So that's some of the comments. This is Nuclear Herb's post about day one Trump versus the SEC.